So based on tubes, we know that anytime there's an open end, I need an antinode. And every time there's a closed end, I need a node. So when I look at the tubes can only have certain patterns. The first pattern and the shortest pattern would be an antinode at the top of this one. There has to be a node in the middle to get to another antinode at the bottom. So this would be the shortest pattern that could happen in a tube open at both ends. In a tube that's only open at one end, the shortest pattern would be an antinode at the top and an antinode at the bottom, and that's all there would be. Now, when I look at this would be equivalent to a half a wavelength. Why? Well, remember, this is one wavelength, and I've cut off a quarter and another quarter at the ends to get that pattern, which means this is a half of a wavelength long. When I look at this one, this just matches one of the ends, one of the cutoff ends. So this is actually 1/4 of a wavelength long because it's half of an antinode. And we know an antinode itself is a half a wavelength. And this is 2 halves, or 2/4, right? 2 parts. So then I look at the next pattern. What's the next possible pattern? Well, the next possible pattern, I still need to have an antinode at the top and the bottom. So that would be this. This is the next possible pattern I could draw. And this has a full antinode in the middle, so half plus 2/4, which gives me 1 full wavelength long. And the next pattern in this one would be this, where I have 1 full antinode plus 1/4 of an antinode. Full antinode's a half plus 1/4 gives me 3/4. Oh, I love fractions, don't you? And then finally, the next pattern, etc. From here, the patterns just keep going, right? You keep just basically adding another antinode as you go along. So now I have a full one plus 2/4, which is 1.5. It's not really drawn to scale. It's very hard to draw to scale using the tool that I'm using. And then this one, which is a full plus a little quarter, so 1.25. You can probably guess what the next patterns are. This was a half, then 1, then 1.5, obviously 2. This would be a half, 3/4, 1.25, 1.75, etc. So those are the patterns that you should see.